China has responded to surveillance suspicions from the U.S. It says the U.S. itself sent flying balloons into Chinese airspace, at least 10 high-altitude devices since January last year. Relations between the two countries have soured in recent weeks after Washington downed a suspected spy craft earlier this month. 3 other flying objects spotted over Alaska and Michigan in the U.S. and Canada were also shot down over the last few days. Beijing confirmed only the first balloon as Chinese. The Foreign Affairs Ministry says it was a civilian research airship that went off course due to winds and limited steering. Yesterday, an unidentified flying object was detected over waters near a northern Chinese port city close to the Bohai Sea. 6 Chinese entities linked to Beijing's military modernization efforts have since been blacklisted by Washington, a move criticized by China.
中方已多次向美方说明情况，然而美方滥用武力、过度反应、升级事态，违反国际法精神和国际惯例。 现在又炒作渲染，变本加厉，以此为借口非法制裁中方企业和机构，中方对此强烈不满，坚决反对。中方将采取必要措施，坚决维护中国企业和机构的合法权益。
A Chinese spokesperson Wang Wenbin says both countries are maintaining necessary communication. The U.S. Defense Department has yet to respond to its reported balloons over China. Olivia Seong joins us live from Beijing with more. Olivia, are there further details to the Chinese accusations?
Well, Jill, so far the answer is no, because this is a new development and revelation from the Chinese side. And we have to point out this is the first time that we are hearing the Chinese talk about U.S. balloons allegedly over its airspace on more than 10 occasions since the start of last year. Since we had heard over a week ago that the U.S. shot down what it alleges to be a Chinese spy balloon over its airspace. And China last week also acknowledging that another balloon that had been floating over Latin America had belonged to it. But this time, though, as we have heard, the U.S. has shot down 3 more flying objects which have so far not been linked to China. And when asked about this, the Foreign Ministry had said it has no further information on this. So China really sticking to its position. Have a listen to this new revelation, though.
美方气球非法进入别国领空，也司空见惯。仅去年以来，美方高空气球未经中国相关部门批准，10余次 非法飞越中国领空，美方首先要做的，应当是反躬自省、改弦更张，而不是污蔑抹黑、煽动对抗。
Well, China has also hit out at the U.S. with another accusation after the U.S. has said that the balloon it shot down was clearly meant by China for spying purposes. But today, China is saying that it was the U.S. instead who has abused its technological advantage to carry out large-scale, indiscriminate clandestine operations, it says, that has violated the sovereignty of other countries. This war of words really continuing and showing no signs of abating so far.
And as you say, Olivia, China being very vocal in its response. How might China respond beyond the rhetoric, though?
Well, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson was asked how China handled the instances of what it says were U.S. balloons flying over its territory. And it said, the spokesperson said that China had handled this in a manner that is responsible and professional. But we do know that China has been angered by the U.S. shooting down its Chinese balloon. It called it an overreaction because it maintains that this balloon was meant for civilian purposes and that it had unintentionally flown into U.S. airspace, adding that the U.S. had used the incident as an excuse to sanction Chinese companies. And it has said before that it reserves the right to respond in whatever ways necessary if a similar situation was to occur. But we have heard no further details on this so far, although last night we had heard Chinese authorities say that they had spotted an unidentified object near the waters of a northern coastal city here in China, with preparations being made to shoot it down. We have no further details on that particular object so far. And also the concern is whether this would cause further escalation in other areas where China has territorial disputes, for example, in the South China Sea. China today again hitting out at the U.S. for what it says has been many close in reconnaissance operations on China in those waters.
That was CNA's Olivia Seong reporting live from Beijing. And as you can see, a story certainly still unfolding. So we'll have more analysis of that high altitude surveillance when we talk to an expert from Griffith University later in the show.